Well, Marty, you've travelled far and wide for your rugby. Did you ever think you'd end up in Dunedin?
No, I guess no. I've sort of never been a fan of the cold weather, but haven't been down here too much in the past. So yeah, I didn't really pick it early on, but it's a great opportunity for me to come down here and have a crack at Southern rugby, and it's an opportunity I'm looking forward to. So yeah, so I'm happy to be here now.
Well, let's run through that rugby profile of yours. You started in your life in Reefton, didn't you?
Yeah, did all my schooling in Reefton until my last year at school. So I played all the Reefton age grade stuff and all the Buller sort of age grades, and sort of started playing senior rugby when I think I was 14. I was playing alongside Dad and a couple of brothers, so it was sort of a rough introduction to rugby, playing against fully grown men at 14, but I guess it's probably put me in good stead now. But yeah, so following on from there, I went to Christchurch, and then it's sort of like a shotgun. I've sort of been around the world and back and forth and got a bit lost here along the way. So, but no, it's good to finally have some direction in my rugby career.
Because you went to Christchurch Boys High, didn't you?
Yeah, I did 2007 in Christchurch Boys, so that was my last year of high school. We actually came down here and played Otago Boys and put a record score on them, which was a little memory of mine back in the day. So that's probably one of the fond memories of being in Dunedin before now.
Who else that we would know in that first 15 that's around the traps at the moment?
Tyler Blundell, he was our captain. There's been a couple of guys that have played for Canterbury. Nussie's cousin, Paul. I'll pronounce his second name, but he'll probably hit me because I'll pronounce it wrong. And obviously Nussie, when I was at the boarding hostel, he was one of the housemasters there. So got to know Nussie a little bit back then as well. So it's sort of good having him here now.
Then you ended up in Auckland, didn't you, for a while?
Yeah, so I got glandular fever back then and moved to Auckland for work. And when I come right from there, I got offered a chance in Russia to go play footy there. And at that stage, I probably thought that was it for me in rugby. I was just going over there to sort of see the world on the back of a rich rugby team and to have a look around over that side and probably just travel around for a few years. And by the time I got over there, I sort of realised that I wasn't ready to pull pin on New Zealand rugby, and I just wanted to come back and have another crack. And that's sort of what led me to Tasman after that. Played a year for Buller, and that was sort of a stepping stone towards moving to Nelson and having a crack there.
Well, let's talk about that Russian experience, because that's fascinating. What sort of level, what would you compare it with in New Zealand?
So I think there's about 10 teams. So the top 3 or 4 teams were quite strong. So
sort of Heartland or ITM?
Yeah, they'd probably win the Heartland. They'd be higher end of sort of the club teams in Christchurch and Auckland and stuff like that. So it was good footy when you got those games, but you'd play the teams that were last and second to last, and you'd put 60 points on them. So the games are few and far between, and it wasn't a Saturday structure. It was you'd fly to Moscow and play 2 games in a week, then you'd fly home back to Siberia and you'd play maybe 1 in a month. It's just there's so much travel involved that they try and tick all the games off fairly quick. So if you do a travel, they play 3 or 4 games in the space of 2 weeks and then come back home and you don't play for a few. So so it's a growing sport over in Russia, obviously behind some of their main ones. We're in a city where rugby was actually the main sport in front of soccer, so it was an experience. The Russians are quite, passionate supporters, and I don't know if they know too much about rugby, but they were angry when you lost. So it was a nice little introduction to overseas footy.
And what was the percentage of foreigners in the squad?
We actually had a few Southland players over there. John Dodd, he played for the Southland Stags, and Tom Fleming, I think he played the odd game for Southland as well. Back, I think it was when they won the Shield, maybe the first time. So there was, I think there was 6 Kiwis, and then there was 2 guys from Moldova. So you're allowed 6 imports in the team at once. So I think the Moldovians, they were classed as Russians because they had Russian passports. But so 6 Kiwis and a couple of imported Russians. Yeah.
And what about, did you pick up the lingo?
Picked up a little bit. We were quite lucky because we had a translator, and some of the boys, I got pulled in quite late. Pihi Tafari was over there. He's a Southland boy as well. He snapped his Achilles, so I finished his contract, and by the time I got there, it was sort of too late to learn the lingo. I just sort of hung around the other boys, and they sort of got me through it. I could order food, and that was about it.
And what about the living conditions over there? I mean, you're a pretty remote area.
Yeah, it was. So down in Siberia, you're either pretty rich or really poor. So it was all apartments, so there was no sort of townhouses and stuff. So the club looked after us quite well, put us in nice apartments, and we were sort of teamed up with another Kiwi, so we'd have 2 guys in one apartment, and the other Kiwis would be down the road somewhere. But no, it was good for us, but you travel to training and you see some pretty rough sights. I got told there's places you could rent for $50 New Zealand for a month, so it was just like a shack, and that was pretty much it. So yeah, so we probably got to see the better side of life in Russia, but yeah, you got to see the worst stuff as well if you wanted to find it.
A great experience, life experience, as well as rugby.
Yeah, I probably went over there as a boy, and I think I probably grew up a little bit in the 5 or 6 months I was there, so it's probably helped me out a little bit coming back. So yeah, Russia's probably somewhere you wouldn't really go unless you had something like rugby or something like that to take you there. So to go there and experience it's awesome, and I don't think I'll go back there for rugby in a hurry, but I wouldn't mind going back for a look as a tourist.
So when you decided to come home, was the connection with Tasman a natural one because of your roots?
I came back and played for Buller, so I played a season for them in the Heartland Championship, and I guess at that stage I was still wanting to try and have a crack at ITM Cup in New Zealand, and yeah, at that stage Buller was my sort of opportunity to get that footy and a little bit of exposure, and then we obviously did all right for Buller then. I think we won the Lahore Championship, which was the bottom tier, which is a big thing for Buller. It was their first trophy, and however long I'd been established, and from there I moved to Nelson through a mate that was playing for Buller, and yeah, it sort of wasn't, I didn't really have a direction on whether I was going to go Canterbury or to Tasman, but once I got to Tasman it was you know, I wouldn't turn back and go the other way. It's an awesome place to live, and it's provided me an awesome opportunity, and as long as I'm in New Zealand, that'll be where I play my footy.
It wasn't just a Buller success for you when you had a record point scoring season that helped your profile, didn't it?
Yeah, I sort of guess so. You know, our team was, you know, for that level is pretty good, and we scored a lot of points. So I guess it's been a common theme for the teams I've been in with, even with Tasman, that we score a lot of points. So being the kicker, you pick up points here and there. So yeah, I guess that helped a little bit, and I had a couple of guys that I knew in Nelson, which sort of probably persuaded me to move that way, and it's been awesome.
Yeah, and the Tasman concept well and truly bedded down by the time you got there, and now really reaping the reward of a lot of years of hard work.
Yeah, I guess I came in the later part of it, and I probably got the easy job of being in a team that's been established for so long with, you know, guys like Joe Wheeler and Shane Christian that are part of it. I know back in the earlier days they battled, obviously with the NZRU probably looking to sort of cut it, but now you look to see where the Tasman Union is as a whole, and it's awesome to see the steps we're taking. And, you know, it's not just Nelson as well, it's Nelson and Mulver, and you know, there's a massive amount of pride in the team, and it's awesome when the locals get in behind you as well. See the young guys, that it's given them a pathway as well. You know, people aren't rushing off to Canterbury and wherever to try and get that opportunity. They know that there's a gateway to make it in Tasman, and the team at Tasman's it's a good environment. We've got good coaches, and you know, they've done me a world of good, and I've learned a lot, and I've probably got a lot more to learn under Tony and the coaches here, and obviously back at Tasman with Leon and KK, but yes, so it's a good place to be.
And you had a taste of Super Rugby. Not much you won. Didn't give you much of a crack, did they?
Yeah, I guess it was probably a bit of a learning experience for me. I guess I went up there thinking I was a fullback and found out pretty quick that I was a 10. So it's probably what I needed. I knew going up there that I was a bit confused about what my position was or what sort of player I am, and I guess after 2 years of ITM Cup and playing at first five, I've realised that that's where I need to be, and that's my position. That's probably going to suit me best. So coming down here and being under the tutelage of Tony, it's going to help me a lot.
Got a few guys to jump over, but the thing is with injuries, and we don't want to wish that on anyone, but anything could happen good in the next 3 months. Yeah, well, you know, Quasi and Sops, they're good boys, so you know, it's all part of rugby. If I can come down here and pick up the odd minutes here and there, or, you know, it's just competition. So, you know, with 3 of us going head to head, it can only be good for the team. So you know, I'm looking forward to it, and obviously there is massive competition there, but you know, it's all good for the team. It's a bit of a joke around here that there's too many Tasman boys, but you know, it's awesome to have them here. It's sort of, especially for me, you know, having Joey and Chrissy here that have been here for a couple of years, you know, it makes the transition pretty easy coming from Tasman down, and obviously with Alex and Ross coming down too, I guess it helps. They're a bit older, but they probably, you know, appreciate Joey and that being here as well. They're making you live together?
Yeah, well, Joey, I'm contemplating moving out at the moment. Joey's got too big a mouth, he keeps stitching me up with stories, so I'm living with Joey for now, but we'll see how that goes later in the season.
And when you're not playing football, how do you like to fill in those lazy hours?
I love sleep, I love food, I play a bit of golf, but yeah, it's any time off I get, I shoot back home and catch up with the family. It's obviously a bit of a hike now, but something that I'll do whenever I get the chance to do it is shoot back up and catch up with family.